Have you ever wondered why some people grow up to live in prosperity, while others struggle just to survive? What if the answer to this mystery had been discovered by a young boy born in the middle of economic hardship? Could a single question asked at the age of 9 shape a lifetime of searching, reading, and learning? What would happen if that same boy, now grown into a man named Earl Nightingale, finally found the answer and recorded it on a simple record in 1956? Could one message, spoken to a handful of salesmen, spread across the world without advertising and sell over 1 million copies? And could that very message, called the Strangest Secret, become the seed from which the entire personal development industry grew? How did Earl Nightingale rise from poverty to become one of the most recognized voices across America? The West Indies and South Africa? What was it about the Strangest Secret that made it timeless, so true in the 1950s, and still just as powerful today? And most importantly, could this secret hold the power to change your life too? The story of Earl Nightingale and the Strangest Secret. Many years ago, in 1921, a boy named Earl Nightingale was born during very difficult times. His family was so poor that often they struggled just to survive. As a child, Earl kept wondering, why do some people grow up rich and successful, while others remain poor and unhappy? He asked adults, but nobody gave him a satisfying answer. So Earl decided to find the answer himself. He began reading every book he could, hoping that somewhere, someone had written the secret to success. Years passed, and Earl grew up. At the age of 35, he finally discovered the answer he had been searching for since childhood. He wrote it down and recorded it on a small audio message in 1956. He planned for it to be played to a group of salesmen while he was away. To his surprise, when he returned, the men were deeply moved by the message. They asked for copies to share with their families and friends. Soon, Earl partnered with Columbia Records to make more copies. Without any big advertisements, the message spread like wildfire. Within a short time, over 1 million copies were sold. Earl even received a gold record, something very rare for spoken word recordings. He titled his message, The Strangest Secret. This one recording became the beginning of the personal development industry, an industry that today helps millions of people worldwide. Earl, who was once a poor boy searching for answers, became one of the most respected voices in the world. His radio program, Our Changing World, was broadcast across the United States and in more than 30 countries worldwide. Even after his death in 1989, his words continue to inspire people everywhere. And still today, many believe the Strangest Secret is the most powerful message ever shared about success. Moral of the story: success does not depend on luck or background. It depends on discovering and applying the right principles. A single powerful idea can change not only your life, but also millions of others. When you search for truth with persistence, life rewards you with answers that can shape your destiny. The Strangest Secret. Imagine for a moment that I hand you a sealed envelope. On it, I write, "This envelope contains the strangest secret in the world." Wouldn't your curiosity burn to know what's inside? You'd probably expect something mysterious, something powerful, maybe even magical. Well, what if I told you that this secret, though simple, holds the power to decide whether you live a life of success, freedom, and purpose, or whether you join the majority who struggle, conform, and quietly give up on their dreams? This isn't fantasy. This is real. And it begins with a single shocking statement. The doctor's answer. Not long ago, Albert Schweitzer, the great doctor and Nobel Prize winner, was asked by a reporter in London, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" Schweitzer paused. After a long silence, he gave an answer that was both simple and devastating. Men simply don't think. And it's about this that Earl Nightingale, one of the greatest voices in personal development, wanted to talk. A golden age that we take for granted. We are living in the greatest age of opportunity the world has ever known. Technology connects us. Wealth is abundant, Knowledge is available at our fingertips. Yet, strangely, most people don't take advantage of it. We take it all for granted, especially in countries like America, often called the richest land in history. People have more opportunity than ever. And still, the results tell another story. The 100 Men story. Let's do a little thought experiment. Take 100 young men, all starting at age 25. Every one of them is full of hope. Every one of them believes they'll be successful. Their eyes sparkle with dreams. Life feels like an exciting adventure. But what happens 40 years later, when these men reach age 65? 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 5 will still be working because they have to, and 54 will be broke, depending on others just to survive. Out of 100 men, only 5 succeed. Why? What happens to the dreams, the excitement, and the plans of the other 95? Defining success. Here's the first key. We need to define success clearly. Earl Nightingale put it beautifully. My success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This means, if you know where you're going, if you're moving, step by step, toward a meaningful goal you've chosen, then you are already successful. But if you don't know where you're going, if you're drifting along, copying others without purpose, then by definition, you're failing. The real enemy, conformity. Rollo May, the famous psychiatrist, once said, "The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity." And that's the problem today. Most people don't think for themselves. They don't ask, "What do I want?" Instead, they follow the crowd. They conform. They work because everyone else works. They buy things because everyone else buys them. They live a life that is outer-directed, shaped by circumstances, rather than inner-directed, shaped by purpose. The shocking survey. In one survey, working men were asked, "Why do you go to work every day?" Do you know what 19 out of 20 answered? They said, "Because everybody else does." Think about that. Not because of passion, not because of a personal goal, not even because they knew where it was leading, just because that's what everyone does. And that is why, out of 100 men, only 5 succeed. The lesson so far. The strangest secret is this. We become what we think about. But most people never take the time to think about what they really want, so they unconsciously drift into conformity and failure. The greatest discovery Earl Nightingale shared is, we become what we think about. If we think with purpose, we shape our future with success. If we don't think, if we just copy others and conform, we drift into failure. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence, resources, or opportunity, but because they never set a clear goal and never direct their thoughts toward it. The key lesson is, decide what you want, set a worthy goal, think about it every day, work persistently towards it. This is the real secret to success. In one line, the strangest secret is that your life becomes the result of your thoughts. So guard them, guide them, and grow them towards your dreams. The definition of success. Have you ever wondered why 2 people can start from the same place, with the same opportunities, but one ends up living a deeply fulfilling life, while the other spends years wandering without direction? Why does one person seem to have a magic touch, while another struggles no matter how hard he works? The answer lies in how we define success, and that's where this story begins. A journey into success. Imagine a small classroom in a quiet town. A young school teacher stands at the chalkboard, teaching her students with passion. She doesn't do it because she couldn't find another job, or because life forced her into it. No, she teaches because that was her dream. She is living her definition of success. Now picture another scene. A man runs a simple corner gas station. People might overlook him, but he's proud of his work. Why? Because this is what he wanted to do. He chose it. He created it. That makes him successful. Or think of the salesman who dreams of becoming the best in his company. Every day, he improves, learns, grows, and step by step moves toward that vision. He too is a success, not because he has arrived, but because he is progressively realizing a worthy ideal. This is the heart of success. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. Success is not comparison, it's creation. Success is not luck, it's choice. The key. That changes everything. For 20 years, thinkers and dreamers have asked the same question. Is there a key to success? Something that, once discovered, could guide a person's entire future. And yes, there is. It is so simple, yet so powerful, that when you fully grasp it, life will never be the same again. We become what we think about. Let that sink in. A man who thinks daily about a goal, steadily works toward it, and keeps it alive in his mind, he reaches it. Just like a ship with a captain and a map will always reach its harbor. But the man with no goal, no vision, no direction, his life drifts like a rudderless ship. Sometimes it may move, but it never truly arrives anywhere. The farmer and the two seeds. Picture a farmer with a piece of rich, fertile land. In his hands, he holds two seeds, one of corn, the other of deadly poison. He plants both. The land doesn't care what he sows. It simply returns what is planted. Soon, up grows corn on one side, poison on the other. The mind works the same way. It doesn't care whether we plant dreams or doubts, goals or fears, hope or anxiety. Whatever we plant, it will grow. This is why people with goals succeed, and those without them fail. Your mind is the most powerful engine on earth. But whether it drives you to a shining future or into a ditch, that's entirely up to you. The real secret. Think about it. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Emerson said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." The Bible reminds us, "As you believe, so shall it be done unto you." From ancient philosophers to modern thinkers, all point to the same truth. Our life is shaped by our thoughts. Your turn. So, what do you want? What seed will you plant today? Do you want to be a leader, a creator, a master in your profession? Then think it, see it, work for it. Hold it in your mind until it becomes real. Because here's the truth. If you think in negative terms, you'll get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you'll get positive results. It's that simple. Moral of the story. Success is not about wealth, fame, or comparison. Success is choosing a worthy goal for yourself, thinking about it daily, nurturing it like a seed, working towards it step by step without fear. In the end, we become what we think about. That is the strangest secret in the world, and also the most powerful. Life isn't meant to be a dull survival. It's meant to be an exciting adventure. And the moment you truly understand this law, you'll realize the architect of the universe never built a stairway that leads nowhere. Your 30-day experiment. Have you ever wished you could press a reset button on your life? Imagine if, in just 30 days, you could prove to yourself that success, peace, and abundance are not distant dreams, but something you can start living right now. This is not magic. It's a test, a personal experiment. And if you dare to commit to it, the next 30 days could very well be the most life-changing days of your journey. A story to begin. Years ago, a young man felt stuck. He worked hard, but had little to show for it. He wanted more money, more happiness, more respect. But no matter how hard he tried, life seemed to push him back. One day, he came across a simple idea. You become what you think about. At first, he laughed. Could something so simple hold the key to success? But he decided to test it. He set himself a 30-day challenge to think, act, and live as if his goal was already within reach. 30 days later, he was no longer the same person. His energy was different. Opportunities opened. People respected him more. His income started rising. But more than anything, he had discovered peace within himself. The question is, will you take the same test? Why this works. Back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton gave us a law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Translated into our lives, it means you cannot get something without paying the price. To be a doctor, you pay years of study. To be an athlete, you pay with sweat, discipline, and practice. To be successful, you pay with focused thought, courage, and persistence. Your results in this 30-day experiment will match the effort you put into it. The price you must pay. So what is this price? Earl Nightingale broke it down beautifully. Control your thoughts. You literally become what you think about. Guard your mind. When fear or negativity enters, replace it instantly with your goal. Free your mind. Your limitations are mostly self-imposed. Let your imagination soar. See possibilities, not walls. Use courage daily. Set a definite, crystal-clear goal. Think about it daily from all angles. Believe no obstacle is stronger than your determination. Act boldly when the path is clear. Save 10% of what you earn. Financial discipline is part of building a strong future. Take action. Dreams without action are fantasies. Act on your ideas immediately. The 30-day test. Here's how you do it step by step. Write your goal on a card. Make it specific. Carry it with you. Look at it every morning, throughout the day, and before sleep. Think positively about it. Each time fear or doubt comes, replace it with a picture of your goal. Remember, you are becoming what you think about. Give more than expected. At work, in your home, in your relationships, give more than usual. Life pays you in direct proportion to what you give. Be cheerful and calm. Don't let small annoyances knock you off course. Worry and fear are your only enemies. Persist for 30 days. If you slip and let negative thoughts take over, start over. Persistence is equal to faith in action. Why it works. Think of a farmer. He doesn't demand a harvest before planting the seeds. He plants first, waters daily, waits patiently, and then reaps the reward. Life is the same. Most people sit in front of the cold stove and say, "Give me heat and then I'll add wood." But success doesn't work that way. First you add the wood service, discipline, effort, then the heat comes. 6 extra success steps. Dr. David Harold Fink. Set yourself a definite goal. Quit running yourself down. Stop focusing on why you can't and focus on why you can. Find the root of your limiting beliefs and let them go. Write a description of the person you want to be. Act like that person every day. The moral of the story. Your 30-day test is not about money, fame, or recognition. Those things come as results. It's about proving to yourself that you can shape your future. You can command your thoughts. You can build success by serving others. The truth is, you have nothing to lose and a life to win. So, are you ready? Write your goal. Carry your card. Start your 30-day experiment today. And step into the top 5% of people who know exactly where they are going. Creative thinking creates our life. Have you ever watched a sculptor at work? At first, you only see a rough block of stone, but with every careful strike of the chisel, the sculptor reveals something hidden inside, something beautiful, something alive. Our lives are much the same. Each thought, each choice, and each effort we make is like a chisel strike shaping our future. And here's the fascinating truth. The quality of the sculpture, our life, depends on the creative thinking and service we put into our work. Now let me tell you a secret about how life pays us. We are always paid in 2 ways. Tangibly, in money. Intangibly, in satisfaction, joy, and pride in what we've accomplished. For many people, the second is far more important, because no amount of money can replace the deep fulfillment that comes from knowing you gave your best. The law of life. Rewards is equal to service. There is a law as old as time. Our rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to our service. Think about that for a moment. If you give little, you receive little. If you give much, you receive much. Now ask yourself honestly, what percentage of your true ability are you giving to your work right now? Is it 30%, 50%, maybe 70%? None of us give 100% all the time. It's humanly impossible. But here's the golden key. You can increase your income, both in money and satisfaction, simply by closing the gap between what you're currently giving and the best you're capable of. You don't need to ask for a raise or chase opportunities desperately. The rewards will come naturally. because life balances the scales. 4. Lessons for creative living. Let me share with you 4 simple yet powerful ways creative thinking transforms your life. 1. Service equals reward. Every coin you earn, every smile of respect you receive, comes because of the service you render. Increase the value of your service, and your rewards, both seen and unseen, will multiply. 2. Give more than you're paid for. Do a little more than expected. Add that baker's dozen in every task. The person who tries to get the maximum return for minimum effort is fooling himself. Life will always balance the equation sooner or later. 3. Treat others as you expect to be treated. Your salary, your home, your children's education, all of it is paid for by others. Customers, clients, colleagues, they make your life possible. So treat them with the same care and quality you wish to receive. 4. Improve something every day. No matter what work you do, find one small way to make it better each day. This habit alone guarantees growth, promotions, better relationships, and above all, personal pride in your craft, the human touch. Of course, not every boss or customer you encounter will be pleasant. Some may be rude, crude, or unfair. But here lies a test. If you allow their attitude to pull you down, you've admitted they are stronger than you. Instead, rise above. Treat people with kindness, respect, and humor, even when they don't seem to deserve it. Most people are just like us. They want to be liked, they carry private struggles, and they long for moments of joy. Be that bright spot in their day. The test of a year. If you practice these principles, not for a week, not for a month, but for a year, you will be astonished at the transformation. Your financial income will grow. Your inner satisfaction will overflow, and you'll discover that life itself becomes richer, fuller, and more creative than you ever imagined. The sculptor doesn't stop striking the stone until the masterpiece is revealed. Neither should we. Through creative thinking, dedicated service, and the courage to give more than expected, we shape our own lives into masterpieces worth living. Moral: life pays us in exact proportion to the service we give. If we give more, do better, and treat others with care, we not only earn more money, but also greater joy, respect, and fulfillment. Creative thinking and dedicated service are the chisels that shape the masterpiece of our life. The gold mine between your ears. Have you ever heard of a man who inherited a treasure chest filled with gold but never bothered to open it? He lived poor, complained about his hardships, and envied others who seemed more successful. Yet, right under his nose, locked away in that chest, was enough wealth to change his life and the lives of generations after him. Sounds foolish, doesn't it? But here's the truth. Most people are living exactly like that man. The difference is, instead of a treasure chest, they carry their wealth in a place far more valuable inside their own heads. Yes, you and I are walking around every single day with a gold mine between our ears, our brain, our imagination, our ideas. The teaching moment. Think about it. Every single invention that changed the world, the wheel, fire, electricity, airplanes, smartphones, was once nothing more than a thought inside someone's mind. An invisible spark of imagination turned into a billion-dollar reality. A scientist once said that if we tried to build a machine as powerful as the human brain, it would cost $3 billion. And guess what? You already own one for free. The question is not whether you have the gold mine. The real question is, are you mining it or just letting it sit there, untouched? The untouched opportunities. Look around you. Nothing in the world is perfect. Businesses could be managed better. Products could be improved. Human problems from health to happiness still cry out for solutions. Everywhere gaps exist, waiting for a creative mind to step in. That means opportunities are everywhere, but they only reveal themselves to people who think creatively. History shows that progress doesn't come in a steady stream. It comes in leaps. A single bold idea from a man or woman willing to challenge routine thinking pushes the world forward. The practical lesson. So, how do you start mining your gold? You exercise your brain the way you exercise a muscle by asking powerful questions. Here are a few to start with. 1. How can I improve myself so I become a better person? 2. How can I build stronger relationships with my customers, friends, or family? 3. What can I do to increase my value in my workplace or business? 4. What new idea could improve my profession, my work, or my community? Each question is like a shovel strike into your gold mine. The more you dig, the more treasure you uncover. The final thought. Remember this: nothing is ever finished. The greatest painting hasn't yet been painted. The best business hasn't yet been built. The simplest solution to life's common problems is still waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, that solution is sitting right now in your mind, waiting for you to give it shape. So, don't live like the man who died poor with a treasure chest unopened. Open your chest. Mine your gold. Use your mind. Because the richest land in the world is not under the earth. It's between your ears. Moral of the story. The greatest treasure we own is not money, land, or possessions. It is our mind. Every invention, every success, every improvement begins with a single idea. But ideas only become valuable when we use our brain creatively, ask the right questions, and take action. So the moral is simple. Your mind is your gold mine. The more you dig into it with curiosity, creativity, and courage, the richer your life will become. Test your CQ. Have you ever watched a child at play? Their eyes shine, their hands move quickly, and their mind invents worlds that don't exist yet. Give them a cardboard box, and they'll turn it into a spaceship. Give them a stick, and it becomes a sword, a fishing rod, or a magic wand. Now pause and ask yourself, when did we, as adults, stop playing like that? Somewhere along the way, many of us traded imagination for logic and curiosity for routine. We started believing that creativity belongs only to artists, writers, or inventors. But here's the truth. Creativity is not a gift for a chosen few. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows stronger when we use it. That's why today, I want you to do something different. Just as schools give IQ tests to measure intelligence, I'd like you to measure something far more powerful for your future, your creativity quotient, CQ. So grab a pen and paper. This is not a test with right or wrong answers. It's a mirror, one that will reflect how much of your creative power you're currently using and how much more is waiting inside you. The CQ test. Answer each of these 16 questions honestly with yes or no. 1. Do you jot down ideas when you hear, see, or feel something interesting, even in unexpected places? 2. Do you take action on your better ideas instead of letting them fade away? 3. Do you truly see things around you, observing with thought, not just glancing? 4. Do you often ask questions like, how can I improve myself, my work, or my community? 5. Have you ever written down your personal or business goals clearly? 6. Do you read or listen daily to expand your knowledge? 7. Do you make conscious efforts to widen your circle by meeting new people and reading outside your field? 8. Do you welcome ideas from others and encourage them to share? 9. Do you fully understand something before passing judgment? 10. Do you feel restless when things can be done better and look for ways to improve them? 11. Do you set aside a specific time for creative thinking each day? 12. Do you give away ideas freely when you believe they'll help someone? 13. Do you combine small ideas into big ones, or adapt and rearrange them to create something new? 14. Do you keep yourself mentally and physically healthy to stay sharp? 15. Do you ask open-ended questions that begin with why, how, what, when, where, who, or if? 16. Do you maintain an optimistic attitude, always expecting and seeking the best? Scoring your CQ, 11 to 16. Yes answers. You have a strong creative foundation. Your mindset and habits are preparing you for high-level creative thinking, 6 to 10. Yes answers. You're on the creative path, but have more potential to unlock. 0 to 5. Yes answers. Don't worry, creativity isn't fixed. It's a skill you can grow quickly with practice and awareness. Teaching point. Think of this test as a flashlight, not a report card. It shows you where your creative energy is hiding and where you can shine brighter. The wonderful news is that creativity is not about being a genius. It's about developing habits, observing, questioning, writing, sharing, and acting on your ideas. The more you practice, the higher your CQ will rise, and with it, your ability to solve problems, spot opportunities, and live a richer life. Moral: your creativity is not a gift you either have or don't. It's a skill you can train. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. The story of the hidden workshop. Imagine walking into an old attic one day and finding a wooden chest covered in dust. You lift the lid and discover 25 shining tools inside. Each tool has a strange glow, and carved on the handles are words: drive, courage, goals, knowledge, honesty, enthusiasm, and many more. At first, you don't know what they're for, but then you notice a note inside the chest. It says, "These are the tools of the most creative minds who ever lived. Not one person mastered them all, but the more you use, the more doors of possibility you will unlock." Leonardo da Vinci painted with them. Edison invented with them. Einstein thought with them. Shakespeare wrote with them. Now, they belong to you. You realize something powerful. Creativity isn't magic. It's a set of habits, traits, and attitudes that anyone can build. Now let's step into this creative workshop and see what these 25 tools really are. Here's 25 traits of creative people, your tools of genius. Creative people are not just dreamers, they are doers. Let's look at some of their shared traits in a way that connects to life. 1. Drive. They worked harder and longer than most. Think of Edison staying up all night with his experiments. 2. Courage. They dared to be laughed at, doubted, even rejected. 3. Goals. They had a clear target to aim their energy. 4. Knowledge. They were students of life, always learning. 5. Good health. They treated body and mind as creative instruments. 6. Honesty. They stayed true to themselves and their work. 7. Optimism. They believed problems had solutions. 8. Judgment. They weighed facts before deciding. 9. Enthusiasm. Their energy attracted others. 10. Risk-taking. They weren't afraid of failure, knowing it was just a teacher in disguise. 11. Dynamic energy. They kept moving forward. 12. Enterprising spirit. They sought new opportunities others ignored. 13. Persuasion. They could inspire others to act on their ideas. 14. Outgoing nature. They built networks and friendships. 15. Communication skills. They could share ideas with clarity. 16. Perceptiveness. They noticed what others missed. 17. Patience and impatience. Patient with others, but restless with their own progress. 18. Adaptability. They could bend without breaking when circumstances changed. 19. Perfectionism. Not in everything, but in their craft. 20. Humor. They could laugh at life and at themselves. 21. Versatility. They mastered more than one skill. 22. Curiosity. They constantly asked why. 23. Individualism. They walked their own path. 24. Realism plus idealism. They saw the world as it was, but dreamed of what it could be. 25. Imagination. The master key. They saw connections others couldn't. Teaching lesson. How to make these traits yours. Here's the practical magic. You don't need all 25 traits at once. Think of them like muscles you strengthen one at a time. The card method, your creative workout plan. Write each trait on a separate card. Rank them from your weakest to strongest. Start with the weakest one. For 1 week, deliberately practice it in real life. Example: if risk-taking is weak, do one small thing outside your comfort zone every day. Next week, move to the next card. In 25 weeks, you'll have worked through them all. When you finish, you won't just know the traits, you'll live them. That's when creativity stops being a word and becomes your way of life. The moral of the story: creativity isn't a gift reserved for the few. It's a workshop inside your mind. The more you sharpen these tools, the more you'll unlock your hidden genius. And here's the beautiful truth: you already own many of these tools. You just need to polish them and put them to work. The high-speed moron versus the human mind. Let's start with a little scene. Imagine two friends sitting in a cafe. One of them sighs and says, "If only I had one of those high-speed supercomputers built into my head, I'd be unstoppable." The other friend smiles knowingly and replies, "You already do. It's called your brain." That little conversation captures something most of us forget. The most powerful creative tool we'll ever own isn't on our desk, in our pocket, or connected to Wi-Fi. It's sitting quietly between our ears. We often glorify machines, especially computers. And yes, computers can crunch numbers at lightning speed, solve complex equations, and store mountains of data. But here's the truth: computers are high-speed morons. They can only follow instructions. They can't dream. They can't create. They can't imagine. The real marvel is you. Unlike machines, you can make judgments, evaluate ideas, and see beyond what is into what could be. Experts tell us that the brain can capture and process more than 600 bits of information per second, billions of impressions over a lifetime. Compare that with even the fastest computers, and you'll see. Machines may calculate, but only we can think. Your 4 creative powers. Think of your brain as a control panel with 4 switches. Each switch activates one of your most valuable tools. 1. Absorption. The ability to take in knowledge through your senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Every book you read, every conversation you listen to, every experience you encounter adds fuel to your creative fire. 2. Retention. The power to store and recall what you've learned. Picture endless rows of filing cabinets inside your head, most of them with plenty of room left. Every bit of data you keep becomes a tool you can later pull out and use. 3. Judgment, the gift of reasoning and logic. With facts in hand, your brain helps you weigh options, separate useful ideas from useless ones, and make sound decisions. 4. Imagination, the most magical of all. This is the ability to connect dots in new ways, to see what doesn't yet exist, to invent, to dream, and to innovate. When you combine all 4, absorb, retain, judge, and imagine, you unleash creativity at its highest level. Why imagination rusts away? As children, we used imagination without effort. We fought dragons with sticks, flew airplanes without wings, and built castles in the sand. But as we grew up, something happened. Society trained us to be practical, to stop daydreaming, to fit in. That 4th switch, imagination, began to rust. Worse, when we tried to express new ideas, we were often met with laughter, doubt, or phrases like, "That's a crazy idea. It's never been done before. We always do it this way." These are idea killers. They not only stifle creativity in others, but when we start repeating them to ourselves, they strangle our own potential. How to protect and grow ideas. If you want to fully use your creative tools, here are 3 simple truths to remember. 1. Ideas can come from anyone, anywhere, at any time. Be open. Inspiration has no fixed address. 2. Ideas are fragile in their early stages. Treat them like seedlings. Protect them until they're strong enough to stand on their own. 3. Ideas need encouragement. Create an atmosphere where people feel safe to share their thoughts. Never dismiss a new idea too quickly. When you build this kind of environment around yourself and others, you're not just using your brain. You're multiplying its creative power. A little exercise for tonight. Try this before you sleep tonight. 1. Pick a subject important to you. 2. Absorb. Read about it or talk with someone who knows it well. 3. Recall. Write down everything you already know about it. 4. Judge. Separate the useful information from the clutter. 5. Imagine. Ask, how can I use this in a new way? This simple formula, absorb, recall, judge, and imagine, is the switchboard for creativity. Practice it often, and soon it will become second nature. The takeaway? Your brain is the ultimate creative tool. Unlike machines, it doesn't wear out with use. It grows sharper. The more you exercise its powers, the more unstoppable you become. The power in asking questions. Have you ever noticed how a child never runs out of questions? Spend 5 minutes with a curious 5-year-old, and you'll hear an endless stream of why, how, what if, so much so that most adults end up sighing. Enough already! But here's the secret. What that child is doing is not annoyance, it's genius. Those endless questions are the raw fuel of learning, creativity, and intelligence. Somewhere along the way, as we grow up, many of us lose this powerful tool. We stop asking questions, and in doing so, we unknowingly limit our growth. Creative and intelligent people, however, never abandon it. They stay curious about themselves, others, and the world around them. Their secret weapon? Questions. Why questions unlock power? Think of questions as keys. A closed door of knowledge may look impossible to open until you have the right key. And the best keys are open-ended questions, the kind that can't be answered with just yes or no. These questions start with who, what, when, where, why, which, how, and if. Rudyard Kipling once said, "I had 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names were where, what, when, why, how, and who. We simply add 2 more, which and if, and we hold the full set of keys." A story from real life. A top American newsman became famous not because he had all the answers, but because he knew how to ask the right questions. His open-ended style made world leaders open up in interviews, revealing insights no one else could get. Those questions didn't just fill newspapers, they built his career, eventually making him chief executive of one of the world's largest news services. In business, the same principle applies. Picture this. You meet Mr. Smith, an executive from another company. Instead of small talk about the weather, you ask, "Mr. Smith, how did you get into your line of work?" Suddenly, you're learning from his journey, his mistakes, and his wisdom. A single question opens a window to knowledge that years of trial and error might not give you. One salesman I know mastered this art. Instead of bragging, "We make the best product," he would ask a prospect, "When you buy a product like this, what features matter most to you?" By letting the customer talk, he discovered exactly what to highlight, and often closed the deal with ease. Why this works? Human beings love to talk about what interests them. When you ask open-ended questions, you're not only learning, you're also building trust and connection. It makes people feel valued. An old Texas friend of mine put it bluntly, "You ain't learning nothing while you're talking." That's why nature gave us 2 ears, but only 1 mouth, to remind us that listening is twice as valuable as speaking. How to practice this power? The best place to begin is with yourself. Try asking, who knows more about my field than I do? What can I learn from them? Why must my work be done this way? If there's a better way, what might it look like? Students, homemakers, professionals, anyone can adapt these questions. The answers may surprise you, and they may lead to breakthroughs in your work, relationships, and personal growth. The takeaway: asking questions is not a sign of weakness. It's one of the strongest creative tools you have. It opens doors, builds relationships, and accelerates success. Children know this instinctively. The wise never forget it. So the next time you meet someone, or even when you reflect alone, remember your powerful set of keys: who, what, when, where, why, which, how, and if. Use them generously. They might just unlock the door to your next great idea. The teaching story of new thinking. Let's begin with a little imagination. Suppose you're holding a plain, yellow pencil in your hand. Looks ordinary, right? But if you pause and think, you'll realize this pencil is actually a miracle. Inside it lies the story of wood from a forest, graphite from the earth, metal from a mine, rubber from a plantation, and paint from a factory. Thousands of hands and countless ideas came together to create this simple pencil. Now here's the secret. The pencil wasn't born just by invention. It was born through thinking in new ways. Someone combined, substituted, adapted, and rearranged ideas until it became what you see today. That's exactly what we're going to explore. New ways of thinking that you can use to solve problems, create opportunities, and transform your life. Up to now, we've been building the foundation, understanding the importance of creativity, studying the traits of creative people, learning how the mind gathers and processes information, practicing the art of questioning and listening. Now, we're ready for the real magic. The methods of creative thought. Think of them as tools in your mental workshop. When you know how to use these tools, even ordinary problems can turn into extraordinary breakthroughs. Let's explore these tools one by one. 1. Think association. Have you ever forgotten someone's name right after meeting them? Memory experts solve this by making associations. For example, if you meet Mr. Baker, you might imagine him wearing a baker's hat. The sillier the association, the stronger the memory. Creative people thrive on associations. They constantly link unrelated ideas, like Thomas Edison combining chemistry with mechanics to invent the light bulb. Associations are like bridges. They connect two distant lands of thought. Lesson: start linking new information with what you already know. The more connections you build, the richer your ideas become. 2. Think combination. Everything in nature is a combination. Atoms make molecules, words make poetry, ingredients make recipes. Human creativity thrives here. Someone once thought, why not mix comedy with music? And musical comedy was born. Even daily objects can spark new combinations. Imagine a toothbrush that holds toothpaste in its handle, or a mirror that reminds you every morning, today is the only time I've got. I'll use it well. Lesson: look at the things around you and ask, what if I combined this with that? 3. Think adaptation. Burlap once made only sacks. Then someone adapted it into fashionable clothing and interior design. Airplane seatbelts became car seatbelts. Rocket technology shifted from war missiles to space exploration. Lesson: adapt old ideas for new purposes. Look at everyday objects and ask, where else could this be useful? 4. Think substitution. Plastic for wood, aluminum for steel, transistors for vacuum tubes, even weathered planks for stylish walls. Substitution fuels progress by replacing the old with the new. Lesson: don't be trapped by tradition. Ask, is there a better material, method, or approach I could substitute here? 5. Think magnification and minification. Think big, skyscrapers, giant economy packs, king-size colas. Think small, pocket radios, microchips, compact cars, bikinis. Lesson: whatever you're working on, try stretching it both ways. What if I made it 10 times bigger? What if I shrank it down to the smallest possible size? 6. Think rearrangement. What happens when you flip something upside down or inside out? A mink coat turned inside out became a chic, casual fashion statement. A building designed with its skeleton outside became an architectural marvel. Lesson: change the sequence. Reverse roles. Rotate perspectives. Ask, what happens if I rearrange the order, form, or function? The moral of new thinking: when you force your mind at first deliberately, later naturally to think in these 7 ways: association, combination, adaptation, substitution, magnification, minification, rearrangement, you'll unlock ideas you never knew you had. The truth is, the only certainty in life is change. You can either wait for it to happen, or you can lead it. And those who lead change aren't the ones with the most resources, but the ones who think in new ways. So here's your challenge. Next time you face a problem, don't just think once, think 7 times. Run it through these methods, and watch your ordinary pencil turn into a world of possibilities. Creative problem solving. Imagine you're lost in a thick jungle. The sun is setting, strange sounds echo around you, and you have no clear path ahead. Fear could paralyze you. Or you could pause, think, and find a way out. In that moment, problem-solving, decision-making, and goal achievement all become one and the same, finding the way forward. That's the beauty of creative problem-solving. It's not just about fixing what's broken. It's about discovering paths, making better choices, and reaching the destinations that matter to you. Now let's break this down step by step, like a guide leading you out of that jungle. The connection between problem-solving, decision-making, and goals. A decision is simply a small problem waiting to be solved. Usually you're picking from just a handful of choices. A problem may feel bigger sometimes with endless possibilities. A goal is like a faraway mountain peak. The problem is figuring out how to climb from where you are now to the top. In truth, these three are siblings. They all require the same parent skill: creative thinking. Step 1. Define the problem. Ever tried fixing a car without knowing what's wrong? That's how many people attack problems. A problem well stated is half solved. Take time to clarify. What exactly is the issue? Step 2. Gather information. Knowledge is your toolkit. Write down everything you know, your experience, statistics, insights from books, and advice from colleagues. The clearer the picture, the better your solution. Step 3. Find the experts. No one climbs Everest alone. Seek people or organizations who know more than you. Ask, listen, and collect their wisdom. Step 4. Capture all the facts. Every detail counts. Write them down so nothing slips away. Many solutions die not from lack of brilliance, but from forgotten information. Step 5. Individual brainstorming. Ideation. Now comes the fun part. Set your imagination free. Don't judge. Don't filter. Just write down every idea crazy, simple, big, or small. Remember the 4 golden rules of brainstorming. 1. No negative thinking. 2. The wilder, the better. 3. Go for quantity. 4. Look for combinations and improvements. One idea often sparks another. Capture them all. Step 6. Rate your ideas. Not all ideas are equal. Once your list is long, rate them. Effectiveness: very effective, probably effective, doubtful. Ease: easy, not so easy, difficult. The winners are those that are both effective and easy. Step 7. Group brainstorming. Sometimes one brain isn't enough. Gather a group and repeat the process, but with one sacred rule. No criticism while the ideas are flowing. Criticism kills creativity. The judging comes only after. Step 8. Create your action plan. Now, take your best-rated ideas and put them into a schedule. Ask, who will do it? When will it be done? Where will it start? How will it be carried out? Set deadlines. Pressure of time sharpens focus. Step 9. Execute and adjust. Ideas are useless without action. The clock is ticking, so start. And remember, timing is often the secret ingredient to success. The big lesson. Problem-solving, decision-making, and goal achievement may wear different clothes, but they walk the same path. With a clear process define, gather, ideate, rate, plan, act. You can solve almost anything. No matter how tangled the jungle seems, there is always a way out, and that way begins with creative thinking and organized action. The brainstorm, turning chaos into clarity. Imagine this: a group of sailors lost at sea. The compass is broken, the stars are hidden, and the ocean seems endless. What do? They gather together, toss every wild idea on the table, tie logs to make a raft. Wait for birds, follow the current, or even trust their instincts. Some ideas sound crazy, some sound brilliant. But one thing is certain: if they don't create ideas, they don't survive. That's exactly what brainstorming is all about. It's survival in the world of ideas. Sometimes it's just you alone with a notebook. Sometimes it's a group of people throwing sparks of imagination at each other. And sometimes it's that magical middle ground. 2 people working together like a spark plug and a brake, balancing creativity with judgment. Like Madame Curie and her husband, or Rogers and Hammerstein. Now let's break it down and teach this skill step by step. The middle ground. 2 heads, 1 mission. Before diving into solo or group brainstorming, consider the team of two. One partner is the thinker-upper, the spark plug, throwing ideas fast. The other is the refiner, the brake, slowing things down, asking, does this work? This combo often produces gems because ideas are born and improved in real time. So, next time you face a tough problem, grab a spouse, a colleague, or a trusted friend. Remember, two heads aren't just better than one, they're faster, sharper, and more balanced. Individual ideation, your private brainstorm. This is where you sit down with yourself, a sheet of paper, and your problem. Define your problem clearly. Write it down in one crisp statement. If you can't explain your problem simply, you don't yet understand it. Generate ideas without judgment. Don't worry about good or bad. Just write. Aim for quantity. More is better because the best ideas rarely come first. Think of it like fishing. The more hooks you cast, the higher your chance of catching something big. Variety is key. Push yourself. What's next? What else? Example. Charles Kettering worked for 6 years on a diesel engine. He tried countless approaches until, in his words, the engine finally told us exactly what it wanted. Problems often reveal their best solutions when you give them enough ideas to choose from. Group brainstorming, the creative storm. When 5 to 10 people gather to tackle a single, well-defined problem, magic can happen. But only if the session follows rules. 1. No criticism. Wild ideas are welcome. 2. Suspend judgment. Analysis comes later. 3. Quantity first. The more, the better. 4. Build on ideas. Combine, improve, and expand. It works like fireworks. One idea sparks another, then another, until the room feels like it's crackling with energy. In fact, studies show that groups produce 50% more ideas than individuals working separately. That's the power of shared creativity. Why brainstorming works. Both solo and group methods rely on a simple formula. Think it up, write it down, improve it, judge it later. The strength of brainstorming lies not in the brilliance of one single idea, but in the sheer number of ideas. As Thomas Edison once said, "I'll try anything. I'll even try Limburger cheese." So the next time you face a problem, remember, if you're alone, ideate until your page overflows. If you're with a group, let the storm rage without judgment. And if you've got a trusted partner, use the spark plug and brake method. That's the art of the brainstorm, turning chaos into clarity and problems into possibilities. Ready for action. Imagine this. You've been on an expedition for weeks. Your team has drawn maps, gathered resources, and brainstormed dozens of ways to cross a raging river that blocks the path forward. Ideas range from building a wooden bridge, using ropes, to even floating across on barrels. The brainstorming session was lively, creative, and full of possibilities. But now comes the hard part. You're standing at the riverbank. The clock is ticking, and your group is hungry and tired. It's no longer about what could work. It's about choosing what will work and putting it into motion. This moment is where many people stumble in problem-solving and creativity. They love the thrill of generating ideas, but shy away from evaluating and acting on them. Yet, without these final 2 steps, evaluation and action, the best ideas remain nothing more than daydreams. Step 1. Evaluating ideas, the cold test. Think of evaluation as putting each idea through a tough fitness test. 2 of the most reliable yardsticks are: effectiveness. Will this idea actually solve the problem? Facility. Ease of use. How easy or difficult is it to put into practice? For example, suppose a company wants to boost sales. One idea: completely redesign a product. Effectiveness? Doubtful customers may or may not like it. Facility? Difficult, requires new tools, designs, and marketing. Another idea: advertise on television. Effectiveness? Probably effective. Facility? Not so easy, it demands big budgets and planning. A third idea: create a sales incentive program for the team. Effectiveness? Very effective. Facility? Easy, it can be rolled out quickly with little cost. You see how the screen of effectiveness plus facility helps separate exciting but impractical ideas from real winners. You can also add 2 more filters: Time and cost. Many ideas fail simply because they're too expensive or take too long. Step 2. Taking action. Where the real work begins. Now comes the step most people avoid: action. Ideas don't change the world until someone rolls up their sleeves and implements them. Take the story of a telephone company years ago. They faced a huge problem: ice forming on communication wires, snapping them, and causing massive losses. Engineers brainstormed endlessly until one wild idea surfaced. Fly helicopters over the wires, the rotor wind will blow off the ice. At first glance, it sounded ridiculous, but they tried it, and it worked. Thousands of dollars were saved simply because they dared to act. Step 3. The action plan, turning an idea into reality. Here's a simple 6-step plan to make sure your idea doesn't just sit on paper. 1. Select the idea you want to act on. 2. Decide who will carry it out: you, your manager, your team. 3. Choose the right timing can make or break an idea. 4. Pick the place where it should be introduced: meeting, office, market. 5. Plan how to implement it: ads, direct mail, training, etc. 6. Set 2 deadlines: a start date and a completion date. Deadlines fuel progress. The lesson: many people never act on their ideas because they fear failure. But remember this: every failure is just a stepping stone to success. The real tragedy is not in failing, it's in never trying. So, don't stop at brainstorming. Evaluate your ideas with clear eyes. Then, pick the best one, make a plan, and move forward. Because in creativity, the crown belongs to the doer, not the dreamer. The creative person, a living sketch of habits that spark ideas and shape success. Imagine this. You walk into a room filled with people. Some are chatting, some are scrolling on their phones, some are just waiting for time to pass. But then, there's one person who stands out not because of how they look, but because of how they think. Their eyes are curious, their ears are attentive, and their mind seems like a treasure chest overflowing with ideas. They ask questions others overlook, they notice details others ignore, and they carry with them a quiet confidence, as though they know something valuable is about to happen. That person is what we call the creative person. Now, here's the thing. A creative person isn't born with superpowers. Instead, they adopt certain attitudes, techniques, and habits that help them think differently, live meaningfully, and make an impact. And the best part? Anyone you, me, your colleague, or your neighbor can develop these same traits. Let's sketch the picture together. 1. A mind like a storehouse. The creative person treats their mind like a never-ending warehouse of ideas. They know that the more knowledge, wisdom, and experiences they put in, the richer the output becomes. Every new book, conversation, or observation is a deposit, and one day, it pays off as an idea that solves a problem or sparks an opportunity. 2. Clear goals and direction. They don't drift. A creative person knows exactly what they're working toward. Their goals act like a compass. Because of this, even their small daily actions feel purposeful. 3. Daily thinking time. Instead of letting life rush them, they pause. Each day, they spend time reflecting on 3 things: themselves, their work, and their relationships with others. This reflection acts like prospecting in a gold mine. The deeper they dig with questions, the more valuable answers they uncover. 4. Respect for other minds. A creative person is humble enough to know that ideas don't belong to just one person. They listen carefully to others, knowing that even a single comment could spark brilliance. By avoiding quick judgment and keeping an open mind, they create an atmosphere where ideas can flow freely. 5. Capturing ideas immediately. Ideas are slippery, they escape if you don't grab them. That's why creative people always keep a notebook, a phone app, or even scraps of paper handy. They don't trust memory alone. Every idea is recorded, sorted, and stored, because even one small thought can change an entire life. 6. Curiosity about people. Every person they meet is treated as the most important person in the world. They listen, they observe, and they connect. This simple attitude brings them a flood of knowledge and inspiration they could never find alone. 7. Broadening horizons. A creative person never limits themselves to one circle, one field, or one routine. They actively seek new experiences, attending different events, meeting new people, reading about unfamiliar topics. They know fresh inputs create fresh outputs. 8. Optimism and anticipation. Instead of expecting failure, they expect achievement. Problems don't scare them. In fact, problems excite them. To them, a problem is nothing more than a puzzle waiting for a creative solution. 9. Sharing and giving. They're not just go-getters. They're go-givers. They believe in sharing knowledge, helping others, and contributing ideas freely. And in return, they attract even more opportunities and goodwill. 10. Shaping and reshaping ideas. Once an idea arrives, they don't leave it raw. They stretch it, flip it, adapt it, and combine it with others. They know that innovation often comes not from a brand new thought, but from rearranging existing ones in surprising ways. 11. Protecting their mental energy. They avoid negative influences, whether it's draining people, poor habits, or constant noise. Instead, they focus on balance, curiosity, and meaningful use of their time. 12. Wise use of spare time. They recognize that many breakthroughs in history books, inventions, discoveries were born in spare moments. So, instead of wasting time, they use it as fertile soil for ideas. Here's the twist. The person I've been describing isn't some distant figure, some genius in a lab, or a famous artist. It's you at your best. Every one of us has the potential to become this creative person. And the more you practice these habits, collecting ideas, asking questions, respecting others, setting goals, the more you'll start recognizing this creative person in your own reflection. Because creativity isn't about waiting for inspiration to strike. It's about building a lifestyle where ideas are welcomed, nurtured, and acted upon. The challenge of creativity. Have you ever noticed how some of the best ideas don't come to us when we're straining hard to think, but when we least expect them? Maybe while you're showering, walking, or just lying in bed staring at the ceiling. Suddenly, bam! A light bulb goes on in your head. The solution that felt impossible yesterday is now crystal clear today. That moment feels like magic. But here's the truth. It's not magic at all. It's the result of preparation, the grind, the effort, the willingness to wrestle with the problem long enough for your subconscious to gift you the insight. Creativity is both hard work and inspiration, and the two always dance together. The two faces of creativity, effort and insight. Think of it this way. Creative thinking is like planting a seed. The digging, watering, and waiting may feel tedious, but without that groundwork, no flower will ever bloom. The sudden aha moment is the blossoming, but only because the soil was ready. Many people give up too soon, frustrated that the answer hasn't arrived instantly. They don't realize this is exactly how the mind works. The struggle is not wasted, it is essential. And the best part? Everyone can be creative, not just the poets, the inventors, or the artists. The only difference is that some people practice this skill, while others never dare to challenge the familiar. Scrambled eggs and creative thinking. Let's bring it down to something simple. Scrambled eggs. Most people crack, stir, cook, and serve. Done! But what if you mixed in a splash of bitters, a few drops of Tabasco, or first sautéed onions and peppers before pouring the eggs in? Suddenly, a boring breakfast becomes a creative little masterpiece. Now, if creativity can transform scrambled eggs, imagine what it can do for your work, your business, your relationships, or your future. Challenge the familiar. We often inherit habits, ways of doing things just because that's how it's always been done. But the world doesn't improve by repeating the past. What worked yesterday may not be enough for tomorrow. A businessman once said, "If you're doing anything this year exactly the same way you did it last year, you're in serious trouble." Not because tradition is bad, but because growth requires evolution. Even the smallest question like why are shoelaces always tied this way has the power to change an entire industry. That's the spirit of creativity, questioning, exploring, and reshaping the ordinary into something extraordinary. Make creativity a daily habit. The more you question, the sharper your mind becomes. The more you practice, the more creativity becomes second nature. Ask yourself, why is this done this way? What if I tried it differently? What could make this more meaningful, more beautiful, or more effective? You don't need to invent the next smartphone or cure disease to live creatively. It might just mean turning an empty lot into a thriving garden, or turning wasted TV time into learning something new. Even 1 hour a day of creative curiosity can transform your life. Closing thoughts. Creative thinking is not just a skill, it's an adventure. It's the art of looking at life with fresh eyes, of refusing to settle for the obvious, of daring to say, what if? And here's the beautiful irony. Ideas are free, yet they're the most valuable thing you'll ever own. One idea, just one, can change your career, your relationships, your future, even the world. So as you move forward, challenge yourself. Question what you see, question what you do, and don't be afraid to scramble the eggs of tradition. Somewhere ahead lies that one idea, the idea that will make a difference, because you had the courage to think differently. Good hunting and good creative thinking.